fresh satellite images have arrived. Most of the ships of the Russian Black Sea Fleet are not in Crimea. There are auxiliary vessels, there are tugs, there is boat base and damaged Azov, Kurs and other unserviceable vessels. The most important things, the carriers of caliber missiles, submarines, patrol boats, dogs, are all based in Novorossiysk. About destroyed coastal defense boats, some saw Mongoose in it, others RM-860 patrol, but that's not the point which one it was. A boat of FSB for coastal waters, 8-9 meters long. That's what should be catching drones, hunting small targets, but it stood without lights, covered with a camouflage net in the heat of a battle. It is just typical Russian negligence. As for the Ukrainian drone, as evidenced by the footage from the GUR, fire was opened from a helicopter. On-duty helicopter was able to lift off, meaning the attack was sudden. So far, neither radar surveillance, no aviation, no drones can reliably detect movement and initiate strikes at sea. Almost always drones manage to get on combat course or enter a bay. And the evolution of drones will continue. Now they are using ramming strikes of 200 to 500 kilogram surface charges, and then they will move to special vessels, possibly semi-submerged ones, that deliver the charge below the waterline, and underwater explosion always causes more damage. Later they will evolve into drones. They can, for example, jam enemy signals, they can launch unguided missiles and over-the-horizon ATGMs, targeting either airborne units or some coastal locations. Also, maritime drones can be easily used to deploy sea mines, and also air drones can leave nasty surprises for ships without entering the air defense zone. Few words about Ukraine's use of maritime drones with R-73 missiles on board. Many laughed when that activists claimed that this is what shot down the A-50 Beriev or two Tu-22 strategic bomber. The brain drain from the Russian Federation in the 90s was probably so critical that people claiming expertise forget that when you launch from the aircraft, its altitude plus its speed makes the missile range much longer if you compare it with the same missile launched from the surface of the sea. R-73 missile simply won't reach the altitude or areas where strategic bombers operate. But against helicopters, it's even somewhat excessive, and judging from the range and how much time it took for helicopters to hover and to destroy this drone, a fragmentation charge on board or manpad would have sufficed. And overall, I wouldn't rush to headlines like Moscow in panic over Ukrainian surface-to-air missiles. Well, just yet, because we don't know if it is a decoy to cover the group's advance and focus fire precisely on this decoy drone, or testing dead zones, or some other practical aspects. According to the Russians, they were attacked by this drone, but they also tell tales that since 2014 they have been attacked by Polish mercenaries, and their tall tales need to be divided by 100 at least. It is entirely possible that while the helicopter was chasing the drone, some other drones were carrying out their main task. Or maybe now it becomes a bit scary for Russian pilots to take off from Belbek air base in Crimea to gain altitude towards the sea and then flying out for patrols every day. Then many compare the cost of expanded equipment with the value of the target, but it doesn't work quite that way. Even though Russians claimed 5 destroyed sea drones and so only one, and the second one was intercepted by this boat, by its hull. But you need to consider the entire infrastructure needed to counter this threat. That's the right way to look at it. To counter German submarines in World War II, efforts on patrol anti-submarine vessels, then conversions of fishing trawlers into armed hunters, then maritime aviation network of buyers, convoys, crew trained in anti-submarine maneuvers, thousands of tons of fuel for patrols. All these were needed, and lots more. There was no other way. And the same is true here. Flights of Ka-29 helicopters, boats at sea, surveillance posts, radar surveillance, everything adds up to the enemy expenditures. It is not just about the sunken Ivanovets or this FSB Coastal Patrol cutter boat. And daily routine expenses, training, spent ammo, tons of fuel, the service life of boats and helicopter, it all adds up. And at the same time, all the barriers in Sevastopol that were erected previously, they were destroyed by winter storms. And in some areas, they were not set up at all. And Russians cannot yet protect all the berths with nets, cover them with minefields. They cannot patrol every night. And while simultaneously changing positions of their ships to avoid storm shadow strikes, they cannot withstand such a load, no matter how Russian propagandists try to gloss over it. All of these efforts are spent in order to counter the sea drones assembled basically in the garages, using satellite terminals and models essentially civilian in purpose. It's not bad for us, keeping the enemy under pressure with such modest forces, and essentially hybrid of a jet ski and a Japanese manned torpedo from World War II. They don't require factories, they don't require docks or shelters from carpet bombing. So, despite the cruise and ballistic missiles costing billions of dollars launched at the Ukrainian industry, we sweep the coasts of temporarily occupied Crimea, and the Russians cannot find the antidote for our raids. So, question is, can we destroy the entire Black Sea fleet? Yes, we can, and we are working on it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our channel for more updates on the war in Ukraine. And if you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.